Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. It's Monday, and guess what? This week, we're finally doing it. We're getting standardized. Mondays are now going to be officially the only day of the week, outside of maybe sometimes doing like an additional bit where we do like a spotlight for a card, but Mondays are officially Edison format territory. Today is also the last historic build. Today's historic build still comes from the Edison last event, SJC Edison. Back in 2010, this is 7th place Flamvell Synchros, and this was played by Edwin Ortiz. I'm missing like 3 cards because, again, some of the stuff I have, some of the stuff I don't have. We'll go over it as we go through it. So, to get the start on his deck, first thing he's playing 1 copy of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. Why? Because simply one of the best options for a tuner at the time period. 3-star, synchro, could shrink monsters. It's just good stuff. Next up, he's going to go hard with the Monarch element. He's going to grab 3 copies Caius the Shadow Monarch. Again, when Tribute summoned, this card will be allowed to spot banish a card off the field, target it, banish it, and if it was a dark monster card, then you get to inflict 1,000 points to the opponent. Again, just savage card, does great work. And again, in this time period, like Light and Dark, still very much the ever-present attributes. Next up, taking in the single copy allowed of Chaos Sorcerer. Banish 1 light, 1 dark to play. Once it's summoned, once per turn, it can give up its attack during the attack phase if it chooses to banish a face-up monster. So again, a lot of spot removal and removal over destruction, because this is, again, still the era of the Stardust Dragon. He goes for the main board of a single copy of Cyber Dragon. Doesn't double up like most people. And quick little check shows that he did have that in his sideboard that day, not in the main. Now, for the part that makes this deck Flamvell, he's running 3 copies of Fire Dog. Now, this was in a recent structure deck. For those of you who may be looking for copies so you can get this nice and common. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you may special summon a fire monster with 200 or less defense from the deck with a different name. This is perfect. This leads into the only other Flamvell that we're going to use, which leads into some explosive synchro plays. That card being the Flamvell Magician. Now you'll see I got a card turned around. It's because I only have 2 copies of this guy. I have one of the original Hidden Arsenals. And when they did the Hidden Arsenal, Chapter 1, he was short printed as a common. So it is very possible to get these 4-star tuners. And again, you need to make sure that it's fire and 200 defense. If you were to control an Ally of Justice monster while you have this card will gain 400 attack value. So he'll jump up to 1,800, which is fine because you do, in fact, run a Catastor in the extra deck. So this is not like some sort of dead, only happens in Hidden Arsenal synergy plays effect. This is something that could happen, something that you may relatively have happen quickly. And again, most of the time you're going to go Fire Dog into Magician. Again, real quick, that is 4-star tuner with another 4-star. You're going straight into 8-star synchros just off that alone. Next up, single copy Gores, because again, he's putting in so much work back then. Small Gravekeeper package, single copy of Descendant with 3 copies of Spy. Spy is going to be able to tank hits, flip, fetch another monster card, and again, if your opponent's out of attacks, go ahead and fetch the Descendant, then tribute the Spy to destroy monsters your opponent controls. Really turns it around real quick and allows you to get real aggressive to the opponent. And as per the usual in this point, 3 copies of Raikou for the flip destroy card and then mill 3, as well as a single copy Super Nimble Mega Hamster. And the reason we're playing this boy is very simple. When you've got this kid, you are going to be able to tank 1 attack, go into Raikou that can tank a 2nd attack, get your flip pop, which tanks the 3rd attack. And again, you just whittle through your opponent's moves. You flip, you extend, you have all these extra star levels laying around. It's very easy to get very synchrocentric with a deck like this. Now, moving into his spells. He has 3 copies Book of Moon, because again, it's shutting off a lot of things. It's resetting his Gravekeeper spies. It's allowing him to reflip the Nimble or sorry, not Nimble Mamanga, Nimble Mega Hamster, as well as reflipping Raikos. So again, very good. Single copy Brain Control with this many tuners. There's no reason to give your opponent back their card. Heavy Storm because you got to get rid of the back row. Mind Control for the same reason as Brain Control. MMST because you just want to get rid of back row stuff. And then a card that we did just recently get back in another structure deck. I want to say we just got these in... If I turn around, I'll see it. It's the Fire Kings. The Fire Kings Reloaded structure deck just had these as well. Special summon from the graveyard as many fire monsters as possible with 200 defense. Banish them during the end phase of this turn. I do believe the banish only kicks off if they remain on the field. Or at least that should be the wording from back then. Which is allowing you to then, synchronize once, pull them all back, synchronize again. It's very synchrocentric. And again, just beautiful. It's 9 card engines, 4 card engines, just a bunch of little engines that work and synergize together and make this deck worth it. Traps, 2 copies of Bottomless, for obvious reasons. Deep Prisons at 2. And again, this has more to do with Stardust reasons. Dust Tornado at 1, because again, it's just good to have 3 cards that hit the back row than just 2. Single Mirror Force because it's good. Single Oppression because it's good. Single Solemn because it's good. And single Trap Dust Shoot because, again, if you can target the opponent's hand, if you can take away options, that mattered so much more back then. It still does now. But this is like the make it or break it type of tech of the Edison format. So this is the main deck from Edwin Ortiz. If you guys give us a second, I'll go ahead, I'll clean the field. We'll go over the extra deck. So just one moment. All right, moving into the extra deck. And again, I do sort of have my own little proxy. There's 1 card missing, so I'm going to show you 14. I'm going to explain 15. The first one we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the Arcanite Magician. And this would be the part where I would normally show you a card and I'd go like, look, Spellcaster, 7 stars, needs a tuner and non-tuner Spellcaster. So again, we have the 4-star non-tuners in the form of your Gravekeepers. And this is going to be a Gale move. Gale plus Gravekeeper equals Arcanite. Now, when Arcanite is special summoned by Synchro, we get to give it 2 spell counters. For every spell counter on the card, it gets 1,000 points because it starts at 400. This will bring it up to 2,400. And we can, once per turn or whatever, remove a spell counter from it. It might not be once per turn. It might be more often. But you remove the spell counter and you get to destroy a card on the field. So again, it's a good card, great card. Then the next card we need to be playing at least 1 copy of Ally of Justice Catastor. Because again, good synchro, great synchro. This does synergize with the Flamvell Magician. When it battles a non-dark monster, you immediately destroy it. And then this leads into the other card that I don't have. And this is the reason why you tend to see 2 Ally of Justice Catastor when I do these, is the Magical Android. Again, it's like $17 right now. Just don't have the scratch for it. It is a 5-star light synchro psychic, 2,400 by negligible change. And during the end phase, you gain 600, 800 hit points. You gain some hit points back per psychic that you control face up on your side of the field. So again, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. Next up, Blackwing Armor Master. Armor Master's so good. We get to play this because we're using a Blackwing tuner and then non-tuners. So again, as long as you have the Gale, you have access to this. He's not destroyed by battle. You don't take battle damage from battles involving him. If he doesn't beat something in battle, he puts a wedge counter on it. It can hold 1. And he may take the wedge counters off any amount of cards. And have them all drop to 0 for the turn. So again, great card. Bryanak, good card. Hidden Arsenal 1 dragon here. Not even a dragon. You get to discard as many cards as you want from your hand. And then you return the same amount of cards from the field to the owner's hands. And again, back then, it was not a once per turn. Nowadays it is. You got to use the old text when you're playing, at least in Edison format. B-Rose, pop the field. Nothing special here, just a good 7. 2 Colossal Fighters, Dark Arm Bait. And again, you can spam 8 stars, so why wouldn't you? This guy was literally in a structure deck back then. There's no reason everybody didn't have this card. It's very easy to get a hold of. On 6 stars, you have Flamvell Urquiza. And again, Urquiza, every time it deals damage, it gains 300 attack, and it can deal piercing. Easiest ways to make this boy is 3 and 3. So this is going to be things like, I'm actually looking for it. Man, I think they may have just thrown this one in there for the times that you are going to be playing your brain and mind controls. I think this is just to have 6 options, because like in the main deck, I'm not seeing any option that plays this. I'm going to go the same thing with the Go-Yo Guardian, just really good tech. And then the rest is like some 8 spam. Red Dragon Arcfiend, Double Stardust Dragon, Thought Ruler Arcfiend, and then on 7 we have an X-Saber Urbellum. So again, X-Saber Urbellum, same idea as Trap Dust Shoot. If the opponent has 4 more in their hand, you're going to be able to place a random card from there back on the top of their deck. Basically stunning the draw, does something more of like a modern Yacht Lock at this point in the game. But again, this is why you do have the mind control and the brain control, is to get into more plays. Because again, you only have, I suppose, Flamvell Magician and Raikou equals 6. So I did misspeak. But again, it's just healthy to make sure that there's other options depending on what you take from your opponents. If I were to change anything here, I might take out the Arcanine Magician that I don't have and add in a Mistworm, dropping the Ally of Justice to a single, and then maybe putting in another copy of just like another good 7 or 8. You know, I do like your Bellum. So I don't know. But this isn't about what I would do. This is what Edwin Ortiz placed 7th with back at SJC Edison. So it's a cool deck. It's a good baseline. We're now officially done with historic builds. Not saying that if you guys don't send me one and I go, oh, that's actually really cool, I won't show it. But this is to say that I'm no longer focused on them. I would rather now focus on my own personal builds. This way we can kind of move forward and not be dealing with all that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, do the things. If you didn't, don't do the things. But I'll tell you what, you go out and you have a wonderful day regardless. And I hope to see you guys in the next video, all right? See you later.